Oh, there you come. Reason number 7, there was a massive uproar. Right? Different things you do.
IQRA KIDS TV.
Initiating System 1. System 1 loaded.
Oh, assalamu alaikum, guys. I love our introduction tune. Don't you like it? I love it so much. I really get carried away. Listen to it. How are you guys out there? Welcome once again to IQRA Kids TV with me, your host, Khaleel Mohammed. As usual, getting a bit sweaty, but I'm doing my best to make sure we put together the best show possible. And, I'm still a bit worried that Beanie might be around. But hopefully he won't show himself. And remember guys, we want you to show us pictures of what you think Beanie looks like. Is he tall? Is he short? Is he fat? Is he skinny? What color is he? Has he got stripes? I don't know. He might be green. He might be red, like Nosy Alien. Whatever the case is, guys, here's the email address to send any drawings of him you'd like us to do. But before we do that, let's get into today's show. Here we go, guys.
Initiating System 1. System 1 loaded.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Assalamu alaikum, guys. Welcome once again to Hot Topic with me, Khaleel Mohammed, the show where we talk about issues important to you. Today we're going to talk about a very, very important topic, something that we as Muslims must do. It is, of course, our Salah, our namaz. It is, as you know, the second most important pillar of Islam. But I know, and you know, sometimes things can get in the way. Sometimes we get a bit tired, we're a bit late, or we forget, or sometimes we might even think, well, why do I even have to pray anyway? Just because I've been told to. So I'm going to give you 8 reasons why Islam promotes praying and why it is important for us to make sure we pray as much as we can. Salah brings us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I have a hadith for you. Narrated by Abdullah, I asked the Prophet, which deed is the dearest to Allah? He replied, to offer the prayers at their early stated fixed times. I asked, what is the next in goodness? He replied, to be good to your parents and be dutiful to them. Showing you the importance of course, being respectful to your parents, but praying as well is very important. So guys, if like me, sometimes you find that you're a bit late for your Salah, you can't concentrate during your Salah, and it's just sometimes it's like, you get that feeling, okay? We're gonna try and help you get rid of that feeling, okay? Because remember, that connection we have to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a gift He's given to us. The praying, the Salah is a gift, and we should make sure we do it as best as we can. Here are 8 tips on how to improve your Salah. Tip number 1, we must understand that the Salah is for our benefit. There are spiritual benefits, but there are also physical benefits as well. For example, sometimes if I feel down for whatever reason and it's time to pray and I go and pray, I always feel better. It's like having a machine and plugging it into the wall and the wire takes the current and brings it to your phone or to your device, and it energizes it. When we pray, it's like plugging ourselves into the energy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it revitalizes us. Of course, the physical movements we do as well, that helps to loosen up our body. It helps us to think about what we have in our lives that we should be grateful for. So in that sense, you can see why it benefits us. Allah doesn't need us to pray to Him. He doesn't need our salah, but we need to always touch base with the Lord of creation. We always need to be in touch with Him, and the salah is the best way to do that. The salah is also important because it helps us keep away from the shaitan. You see, shaitan will always whisper to us to do this, not to do that, to not pray, to not give charity. And the salah, because we are forever touching base, energizing ourselves through the salah, shaitan, it's very hard for him to influence us. It's very difficult for him to go to a praying person, somebody that believes and follows Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for him to try and interfere with them. So it's like a shield for us. It's like a barrier between us and the shaitan. Tip number 2, to increase your concentration. Sometimes when you stand for salah, your mind begins to wander. You start thinking about what's on television. You start thinking about your friends. You start thinking about food. You start thinking about other things. And sometimes it can be hard to focus and to concentrate. I know that as well as you do. Sometimes it can be difficult, but I have some tips for you to help you out with that. Perform your wudu properly. Make sure the instructions that you've been given to follow your wudu, that you do them thoroughly, carefully, and slowly. Remember, do not rush that. This is all part of the preparation. Perform your salah in a suitable environment. Obviously, go somewhere that is relatively quiet. If you're at home and there's a lot of noise going on, you're never going to be able to stop that. But try and go somewhere that is relatively calm, relatively peaceful. And if you have to tell people to turn the television down or stop talking so that you can focus and concentrate, then do that. Next thing you can do is be conscious of Allah's presence. Allah isn't with us physically, but He is with us with His knowledge. So He knows everything we say, everything we think, and He is watching us all the time. Introduce variations in your surah. So if you're doing one particular surah, don't keep doing the same surahs over and over and over again. Because what happens when you do the same surah over and over again, after a while it just becomes blah, 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 blah. You're just saying it as a routine, almost parrot fashion. If you need to learn different surahs, some of the shorter ones, learn those first. Then as you're learning them, you're more concentrated on what you're trying to say, that you're trying to pronounce correctly. So learn more surahs in order to stay focused. Treat every salah as if it is your last, because one day it will be. When you face Allah, when you're about to pray, consider yourself His slave. You're His Abdullah, and everything you have and everything you want and everything you dream about in terms of possessing your ambitions, only Allah can give those to you. Only Allah can give those to you. Your clothes, your food, your parents, your school, your friends, all of those are blessings. So when you stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to pray, remember what He's given to us. Remember how much beauty and love He's bestowed upon us. And we actually didn't do anything to deserve it. If you think about it, so much blessings He's given to us. Think about that when you pray. Tip number 3, try to pray in the masjid as much as possible. If you're given the opportunity to go to the mosque, for whatever reason, try to go. If not, just say to yourself, I'm going to set a certain time of the week or the day that I'm going to go to my local masjid. Tell your mom, your dad, your guardian, whoever it may be, that, I've set a certain day that I must go to the mosque. When you go to the mosque, when I go to the mosque, it's such a beautiful, calming feeling. To be with the brothers or with the sisters and praying in congregation is one of the most invigorating things you can do. So to go to the house of Allah and pray to Him there is of great benefit, and the blessings we can never count. And it is a great way to once again connect yourself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not only are you praying to Him and thanking Him and reciting your new surahs, you are also being grateful and you are reconnecting to Him, and that in itself is a blessing. Tip number 4. Try to make dua as much as possible. This will help with your closeness to Allah. Now, sometimes we do things, we go places, we want things, but we just say, I wish I had it. Oh, why did this happen? Why did that happen? Without contemplating why it might be happening on a deeper level. When we make dua, we are always going back to Allah, we're asking Him, we're pleading to Him, thank you for this, thank you for that, help me with this, help me with that. Even if it's a school test, even if I once heard a scholar say, even for the salt you put on your food, you can thank Allah for that as well. The tiniest things. Don't think that Allah is not concerned. He's put everything in our world for our benefit. So when we thank Him and ask Him for these things, He is grateful that we are acknowledging the blessings that He's given to us. Dua outside of the Salah is a great way to always keep in touch with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Always touching base again, always connecting ourselves. Through dua, we increase our gratitude, we increase our thankfulness, we increase all of our love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So whenever you get opportunity, always make dua. Tip number 5. Try to improve your time management. I mentioned before that you can set a time to go to the masjid, but you can also set a time for doing other things as well. Say you're at school and you're not allowed to pray at school, or at college and you're not allowed to pray there. Make sure that when you go home, you set a time to do those salah, okay? Set a time, say between this time and this time, I'm gonna do those salah. Of course, you should pray those on time, but for whatever reason you're not able to, many scholars say that you're allowed to do them afterwards, okay? Make sure you set a certain time aside just to focus on those salah. Another thing you can do is, in this modern age, we have things called apps, okay? Apps, you can download apps that will inform you when a certain namaz is, when Asr is, when Dhuhr is. It will allow you, and you can put it a setting so that the adhan can play for you, and you can choose adhans. You can have different surahs on there. There are many things. Some of them even have these kind of tokens that every time you do a salah, you can click it to say, yes, I've done this one. So you can look back over the week to say, yeah, I've done this one, I missed that one, I've done this one. So you can monitor yourself to say, okay, I need to improve on this part and that part here. So when you have that time set aside, make sure that you're going to fulfill those missed salah as well, and use your app to do so as well. It's really helpful. I've got one, and it's a really, really great help.
Hi guys, don't be bored. If you want something to do and you want to learn some really cool stuff, all you need to do is watch IQRA KIDS TV. It's so awesome!
Tip number 6. Now, a few of the Salah are during school or college hours. Now, it may be possible because some schools and some learning educational outlets allow you to have a dedicated area for praying. If there is one in your school or your college, make sure you find out where it is, make sure it's all tidy and clean, and you can go and pray there as well. If you have some of your friends or your buddies that you want to go with as well, it makes it a lot easier if you all go together because you can remind each other to go, okay? Now, I remember when I used to work in a school, they allowed us to pray at Jummah. So we would go to a certain part of the library, it was upstairs in the library, and they allowed us to have prayer mats there and to pray. So some schools, some educational institutions will allow you. So it might be worthwhile going to your headmaster, your teacher, and say, look, I need to be able to do my prayers at this time and this time is this time. Is it possible I can have a dedicated prayer area? There's no harm in asking, and I'm sure they're going to be very impressed that you're so conscientious and so serious about your religion that you want to pray even though you are in school hours, okay, lunchtime and what have you, okay? So don't be afraid to go and ask them. In this day and age, people are very, very open. The school I used to work in, they were so open to Muslims or other religious groups asking for certain things and allowing them to do those certain things at given times. Also at work as well. I remember when I used to work in a cinema, one of the managers said to me, you know, if you need to go and pray or break your fast, you tell me and I will, and this guy wasn't Muslim, he said, I will put it on the schedule that you can go and pray or you can break your fast when it suits you. And I used to be so grateful to this non-Muslim guy, and he used to put it in the schedule that during time when I'm going to break my fast, he would give me a break. So I wouldn't have to sneak off and try and do it. So I could break my fast, pray Maghrib and go back to work. So don't be afraid to ask people where your school is or where you work. Tip number 7. Now, I mentioned this briefly before, that we must concentrate on what we're saying. Many of us have been to madrasa and we learn many portions of the Quran, but we don't know what it means in English. Now, if I said to you, and I told you to repeat that over and over again, you probably could do it, but you wouldn't know what it meant. So you can't get close to the message, you can't understand what it's telling you if it's giving you information, okay? And if you kept saying that over and over and over every day, every 5 salah a day, after a while, it's just going to become something that you just say without any meaning. So to understand the meaning of the Quran, the Fatiha is the most obvious one because we read that in all of our namaz, right? Understand what the actual words are. Find a Quran, go online somewhere, you've got plenty of opportunities and different options to see what the English is and read the English. And if there's some tafsir about it, read about the meaning of the actual verses that you're reciting, that you're reading. Okay, that way we know what Allah is saying to us. The Quran is a message to mankind. Now the message is useless if we don't know what it's telling us. If it's giving us advice, if it's giving us warning, if it's giving us glad tidings, we wouldn't know. So how can we benefit? So knowing what the surahs mean in English or any other tongue that you are comfortable with is very important to, once again, it's all a part of that process of drawing closer to Allah, knowing what He says, knowing what He means, knowing about the warnings and the advice and all of the things that are in the beautiful Quran. So make sure you know what you're saying in your salah. And finally, tip number 8. Remember, salah, namaz, is a duty placed upon us. When we said, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, we are making a pledge, we're making an affirmation that we believe in Allah, we believe in the Messenger, and we are His Abdullah, we are His slaves and His servants, okay? Which means that we will do and obey everything that Allah has given us to do. The salah is one of the very key, most important things that we as Muslims must do. We have to do that, okay? For all the reasons I mentioned before, all the benefits that we derive from it, all the nuances and all of the beautiful messages in the Quran that is given to us through the Messenger, all of that is a blessing to us. Now, I've got an ayat to read to you. And I, Allah, created not the jinn and mankind except that they should worship me. Quran 51:56. And if you think about it, praying 5 times a day That's easy to do if you consider what Allah has given to us. Everything we have, everything we ever wish to have, everything we've ever seen, everything we've ever read, everything we've ever encountered or experienced has been from Allah. The breathing that you're doing now, the eyes blinking right now, the food you're eating, your mum and your dad, the car that they drive, the house you live in. Everything. We could go on and on and on, and we could never exhaust how many blessings Allah has given to us. And all we have to do, one of the most important things we have to do, is thank Him. Now, if you're walking through the city center one day and you are going to go through the door and somebody opened the door for you, you would thank that person, wouldn't you? Of course you would. You've got good manners. You're thanking them just for opening the door. Well, what about thanking the person, thanking the one that gave you your eyesight, your hearing, your sense of taste, the fun that you have, the beauty of creation? What about thanking that one? If you think about it that way, praying 5 times a day is easy. It should be more if you think about it. But if you're thinking that way, how much He's given to us, and we're just going to pray 5 times a day. And of course, we'll do the other pillars as well. But remember, Salah is the second one. After believing in one Allah, then the second pillar is that Salah. So it is important. So to do those 5 times a day prayer, He's not really asking that much of us, considering He's given us so much. This is something we must ponder and reflect and think about, that He's asking us to do something so simple, so easy to do. And inshallah, that will help with your concentration and improve your salah. So there you go, guys. 8 tips for you to improve your concentration, your salah, your time management regarding that salah. It's very important. Remember, that is the rope, that is the link between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even people that I know who are having a hard time in their lives and they're having problems and difficulties, my first advice to them is never ever abandon your prayer. No matter what happens to you, where you go, sad things happen to you, always maintain your prayer, because that is the rope that we must hold on to establish and to maintain our relationship with the Lord of creation. Right, guys? Again, those are only 8 points there as well, but I'm sure there are many more. I want you guys to research it. Watch this video again if you have to. Make notes if you have to, but take it seriously, guys. Once you get into the habit of improving your salah, it will just get better and better and better, trust me. Right, guys, if there's any topics you'd like us to cover here on our hot topic, you can email me on the following email address: info@iqra.tv. Looking forward to hearing from you guys. Take care. Assalamu alaikum. It's finished. Oh, I really enjoyed that show today. Oh, can we have some more? No? Oh, never mind, guys. If you do want more and you want to see more of our work, make sure you go to our website, which is as follows. And of course, if you've got any information, any pictures, any things that you'd like to share with us, that's the email address. And of course, once again, our Instagram page. Any ideas of what Beanie looks like, right? If you send it to us, we're gonna put it on our Instagram page, and that's the address, just in case I haven't said it already. And we're dying to hear from you guys. Take care, speak to you soon. Assalamu alaikum. Reason number 7, it was a massive up. Right? Different things you do.
IQRA KIDS TV.